My mom created a fun way for us to learn the most important rules of life. Yah's commands.
With Yah's Big Ten Commands, we get to see His what's best for us.
Keep Yah first.
No graven images.
Don't take Yah's name in vain.
Remember Shabbat and keep it holy.
Honor your parents.
Do not kill.
Mr. and Mrs., don't cheat.
Don't steal.
Don't tell lies.
Don't covet.
This changes everything. Get your set of Yah's Big Ten Commands at Big Ten Designs today.
Shalom, shalom, grace and peace to everyone tonight. Peace and blessings to all of you. Welcome once again to another discussion on Ashanda at Large. And I'm so glad to have y'all here tonight. Yeah, back to back. Went on live earlier about the live that we did last night. And back on tonight because tonight's discussion is so important. It is so important because, family, we know that the Most High is calling His people from the four corners of the earth to stand up and to do His work in the earth. His work in the earth. And so tonight, we are going to be having a discussion with a brother who is doing just that on the continent. And I'm just so excited to sit down and to speak with him. Because when you hear his heart and when you hear his mission and you hear how the Most High is opening up doors for him and his entire team, you're just going to be blessed. You're going to be tremendously blessed because the Most High, He does the supernatural for those who desire to be in His will. So I am excited about this discussion tonight. And we're going to get into it. But before we do, I got to give a shout out to the family, all right? So we're going to go ahead and start with my sister, Malaka Batya to the Remnant. Peace and blessings to you, dear sis. I hope you're doing well. Hope your family is well. Sister Joy in the building, peace and blessings to you. All praises to the Most High for you being here tonight. Brother Fast Nickel in the building, peace and blessing to you. Yes, indeed. Yes, a very busy weekend. We were just talking about that at the back. I said, the word got to get done. It's got to get done. Praise y'all for giving the messages forth so that the work can get done. Quintonia, Sister Quintonia, peace and blessings to you. Glad to have you in the building. Sister Niyazeki, peace and blessings to you. Always good to see you, my sister. Brother Darnell, peace and blessings to you. All right, we got Sister Omiya in the building. Peace and blessing to you as well. Mama Mariah up in the building. Good to see you, Mama Mariah. And I am just so glad to see what y'all is continuing to do in your life. And we're going to chat real soon. Brother Jason, peace and blessing to you. Glad to have you here tonight. Brother Timothy in the building. Shalom, shalom, my brother. Janine, shalom, peace and blessings to you. All right, we got Corrine Russell. Shalom and peace and blessings to you. Welcome to the platform. Lamara Johnson, peace and blessings to you. We got Gerald Colbert. Showtime, baby. That's right. Peace and blessings to you. You got Dana Mason in the building. Shalom, shalom. Vincent Rollins, peace and blessings to you, my brother. Glad to have you here. Yahel Ben Yehuda, shalom, peace and blessings. This journey, peace and blessings to you as well. All right, who else do we have here tonight? We got Terry Payne up in the building. Glad to have you here. Listen. If you have not subscribed to Ashanda at Large, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Let's get more people in the conversation. It's going to be a phenomenal one tonight. All right, we got Pride of Judah up in here. Peace and blessings to you. Sister Kathleen, shalom. Good to see you. Good to see you, my sis. Hope you're doing well. Lisa Marie, shalom. Peace and blessings to you. Got Brother Dwayne up in the building. Peace and blessings. Got Don P up in the building. Peace and blessings to you, my brother. We got Sister Joy, the Oil of Joy Music. If you're not subscribed to my dear sis, please subscribe. She is an amazing, anointed woman of the Most High. Her voice is incredible. All right, so please subscribe to her channel after the same name. Sabaya up in the building. Peace and blessings to have you here. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to this talk. Awesome. Lovely Africa. Glad to have you here tonight. Shalom, shalom. Cassandra Seller. We're going to get ready to get started. So peace and blessings to you. We got Stay on Fire Ministry. Peace and blessings, family. And Janet Powell. Peace and blessings to you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I know I didn't get to say shalom to everybody, but as Pastor Kelly would say, charge it to my head and not to my heart. All right. So, family, I'm getting ready to welcome in my special guest tonight. This brother was on the platform before, it must have been about 7 or 8 months ago when we were dealing with the entire issue that went international concerning Ron Dalton and Hebrews to Negroes. This brother has worked very close with Ron Dalton, and he came on to represent the work and the labor that Yah has called them to do. Brother Ron and I got an opportunity to sit down and converse about a week and a half ago on Brother Lorvin's channel, Son of Shemites. And if you didn't get a chance to see that interview, you definitely want to check that out. But I'm getting the opportunity to speak now once again to this brother LaVell Walton, President LaVell Walton of the United Global Kingdoms of Africa. And this is just going to be such an incredible conversation because of all the Yah is pouring into him and his entire team. And so without further ado, I want to go ahead and welcome my brother, President LaVell Walton, into the building. Glad to have you here, my brother. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you. Absolutely. Family, give our dear guest, Mr. Walton, Brother LaVell, give him a couple of shaloms up in the building. We're going to put them up here on the comment section as they come through. So glad to have you on here once again. It's been like a little more than half a year since you and I have conversed, but you've been busy. You've been very, very busy.
Yes, to say the least. To say the least.
Yes. So it was about a week and a half ago when I was doing the clapback, if you will, at the Jerusalem Post for what they had said about debating Brother Ron. And you posted in there about United Global Kingdoms of Africa. And then you reached out to me. And from there, you and I have just been back and forth. We've been talking, and you have just been like helping me to see this grand vision, because it's grand. It's real grand what Yah has called you to do. So I want you to tell us a little bit about the organization to start with, and then we can get into what it is that drew you into becoming a part of this organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So United Global Kingdoms of Africa, simply put, it's a diplomatic collaborative. I guess you could say it's in the similitude of the United Nations. One thing I realized is for our people, being born and raised in the U.S., for our people, we've always dealt with a lot of our leaders in the past, from Marcus Garvey to Malcolm X, Sojourner Truth, many others, Steve Biko in South Africa, and many, Patrice Lumumba. So many of our leaders were killed, were destroyed, assassinated, and a lot of our hopes had dwindled. And what you hear for the past century or two is reparations, or we need to be able to go home. We need to have freedom. We need this, we need that. But the challenge that we've always faced is we had no state of reference, no backing. If you look at the Chinese person, the only reason you call them Chinese is because they hail from China. And China supports them. The Japanese, they hail from Japan, and Japan supports them or backs them. The French hails from France, and they support them, they back them. But what about the black? The
Right.
black people? What about us? We have no state of reference. So when over the centuries, you heard white people saying to us, and this is no diss to some white folks, but it's just the reality. White people would say to a lot of blacks, say, "Oh, go back to Africa." Well, Africa's a continent. Please be more specific.
There you go.
There are 54 countries on that continent, and it is considered the largest continent in the world next to Eurasia. But when you separate Europe and Asia, those are two different continents and considered to be two different continents. And Africa is considered the richest, the deepest, and the greatest country or continent in the world. But there's no specific state of reference for our people. So what I realized while I was out there on the continent and with Ron, and we went and we met so many different people, built so many great relationships while we were out there. It's a sacrifice, y'all. I will tell you that. Myself and Ron were out there as the forerunners. We were truly sacrificing being out there, but doing what we needed to do for the sake of our people to be able to have a hope across the waters back home on the continent. But while we were out there, the vision came to me through a king out there sitting and having lunch with him. And he gave us the vision. He gave us the game, so to speak, on how to really protect our people. So United Global Kingdoms of Africa is a diplomatic collaborative or a united forum, similar to the United Nations, but is a forum of various African kingdoms, nations, and territories that work together basically to facilitate humanitarian, economic, and technological advancement of Africa.
That's absolutely amazing. And what I loved about it when I was looking at your website, and we're going to share your website tonight, absolutely. And then, of course, we're going to give the information out for people to definitely check it out on their own. But what I loved was the collaborative effort. I love to see that there was so much hands-on work with so many different bodies. And that's one thing that they tell us that we can't do, right? That we can't unify, we can't work together. It's always a war and a conflict, which the Most High has been, having us to have these very important conversations between the diaspora and our brothers and sisters on the continent, and really getting down to the nuts and bolts of where all of this came from, this animosity. And we know a lot of it is ancient, but we also know that a lot of it was a trick bag that was handed to us by the colonialist. So to see that, you were able to sit down, first off, with, you say, an African king now. First off, let's just stop the presses on that, okay? Yeah. You sat down with an African king, and he was able to share with you his vision for seeing this collective come between the diaspora and the continent and take the shape of diplomacy, so that we can learn to work together and be effective together, not just in terms of communication and just having talks at the table, but actually laboring together. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, yeah, so the meeting with him, he told us a lot of us are trying to go to Africa in silos and thinking that independence or individualism, as we were taught in the U.S., is the way to go, but that's not how it works in Africa. I think we have to rid ourselves of that mindset. We have to begin to collaborate and come together in order to accomplish great things. And so in going over there, what we learned is everyone, and this is what he was sharing, everyone is going to Kenya, Tanzania, to Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Congo, all these different countries just by themselves. And they're going through a hard process with the embassies of getting visas or residency or even, obtaining land. And they have to kind of risk it in regards with getting land that they would officially own. And they got to be careful to make sure that somebody else doesn't come back and say, wait a minute, this land has been in our family for 50 years or 100 years plus, because then they could rightfully come back and take over their land, right? Mm-hmm. So what we realize is that's a huge problem. It happened to us. Mm-hmm. It happened to us, Ron, myself, and many others. when we had gone to the continent in another country, and we would just realize that couldn't keep being the theme for all of us. And so the king was talking to us about it and just said, why don't you guys do something a little bit different? Why don't you have some sort of a governmental structure supporting and backing you, and not just you in America, but for all the diaspora? You know, in all four corners of the earth, as the Most High says, you know, we were scattered in all the four corners of the earth. To have something established, some sort of a governmental entity that supports you coming back home. You belong home, but you also need that added protection. And so, as he was saying, it needs to be something that is diaspora led. So when he said that, I had to sit down with him, and I told him, if this is going to be diaspora led, it needs to be 100% diaspora led. And it was at that point, as he and I were having this conversation, he said, you know what, you're absolutely right. Go forward. And I told him I was serious about it too. And I spoke with some of the family that was there, his family that was there. I said, listen, if you give this to me, I'm going hard. I'm going to go really hard after this. And so I guess, for lack of better words, you could say he kind of gave me the blessing. I also believe that it was the will of the Most High, because this is the way for us to have a bridge to go back home to the continent, as well as a bridge to reconnect with our people on the continent. And ever since then, I just went hard. I gathered a team of very intelligent and passionate people. My team is phenomenal. I would dare to say I've got the best team in the world. We came together. What was that?
I said, shout out to the team.
I'm telling you, shameless plug. Shout out to the team, UGKA. And y'all visit ugka.org. But no, the team, my team and I, we've been working tirelessly to make great things happen. But we still, if I could say in all transparency, we still cannot seem to catch up to what Yah has been doing the entire time.
Wow.
I cannot even begin to share half of what he's been doing. And I don't mean it like, oh yeah, God's moving in a spiritual way. No, like actively tangible things that he's doing that I would have never guessed. Millionaires wouldn't have this kind of favor. So it's been proof that it's really Yah.
See, that right there, that just, makes something on the inside of me just, bubble up for joy, because, what all of us for a very long time, and I say a very long time, it's been quite a few years since the Most High has opened up our eyes to who we are. But since that time, we have been having this this longing, if you will, this longing to be reconnected to the land. And the thing about it is, as you said before, that there are so many countries, 54 countries that are on the continent. But when we're hearing this term, go back to Africa, it's like, okay, well, where do we start? Where do we start? And so what I'm hearing, what you're saying is that as you sat down with this king, by the way, what's the king's name that you spoke with?
King Bungani III of the Imbo Kingdom.
King Bungani III. And that's awesome. Of the Imbu Kingdom. Now, when you Imbu, okay, when you spoke to King Bungani and he sat you down and he showed you his vision and you said, I want this to be diaspora led, and this initiative must go forth. We must have some sort of collaborative effort that will allow us to have representation before these governments, so that we're not having to go through all of these problems that we seem to face when we're trying to establish ourselves on the continent. But again, it's the issue of where do we go, right? So now you're saying it's not just a matter of the work that you're doing here in one specific country, because this took place in South Africa, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
But this is a labor to connect the diaspora with many countries in Africa. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So we know that our people were scattered in all the four corners of the earth. Some of our people are in the Philippines and Burma, which is South Asia. We know the Siddis people, Siddis, are in East India, and they're a separated people, but they also say that their ancestry is of Israel. So we know that we have people scattered in Australia, New Zealand, Aboriginal people. Ron's work, if anyone has paid attention to any of the Hebrews to Negroes work, it really highlights a lot of it. And I respect him for that amount of research. I have such a great regard and respect for him for that. We learned that a lot of our people are scattered all over the place. But when we do Ancestry.com, DNA checks, Ancestry.com, T3andMe, or African Ancestry or Ancient Ancestry, when we do these, different checks on our DNA, we'll find that a lot of us are coming from various countries on the continent. So what UGKA is doing is reaching out to a lot of the kingdoms and the leaderships of those different countries, those kingdoms. And then we're also beginning to build relationship with dignitaries in those other countries as well to make that transition smooth. One of the biggest goals is not just simply being a bridge to help diasporans come back, like, assisting with the visa residency or citizenship process, which is a huge hurdle. And not just land acquisition, helping people to be able to have land and build their home, but also to reconnect with the people, to reconnect with the kingdoms, the nations, to have security and confidence when coming back. So that's really what it's all about. Reestablishment. It's about return, reestablishment, reconnection. I think that's the best way to put it.
I like that. Reestablishment, reconnection.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. Now we're going to get off of the topic just a little bit because speaking of being reestablished and reconnected, what were your thoughts about the president of Uganda and what he had to say in regards to their role in the transatlantic slave trade and seeing our people being separated from the continent?
I think I did watch that. I think that was a bold move, and it's reassuring to know that there are some leaders who acknowledge some of the atrocities of the past. I think, in my opinion, it seemed as though what he was asking for is reconciliation, an opportunity for that. I think it's really on us to do the exact same thing because if we all know, if those same people are Bantu people and we are Bantu, it's really our forefathers that did all this.
Yes.
Our forefathers disobeying Yah's commandments put us all in this position. Some remained over there, some did not. I think the move that he made was a step in the right direction. But if I can be transparent, not just about him, but about all leaders all over the world, even those who, I think there was recent apology that was made from one of the leaders in Europe. I'm trying to remember which country it was, but I just noticed that thumbnail on YouTube. And then I know, you've got U.S. presidents, who Joe Biden and all them who apologize for all the stuff that happened in the past. At this point, for me, an apology is nice. Verbally, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see actions.
Yes.
I want to see evidence supporting your apology. Let's see how genuine that really is. The Dutch, thank you. Somebody posted that up there. It was the Dutch president. Mm-hmm. I want to see action behind it. So if you're really apologetic, what's the show of proof? For example, whenever we repent, to Yah, when we repent, he's looking for, okay, show me fruits of your repentance.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Don't just say it. I mean, saying it is great. That's a great first step. Okay, now show me you mean business. And I think for the Ugandan president and any other president, show us that you mean business. We're willing to work with you, but you got to work with us. Show us that you really mean that because we know the past.
Yeah, I think that is one of the bigger issues. It's interesting that it was the Dutch president that made that apology because even here in the U.S. Virgin Islands, it was Danish owned, right? Pre the U.S. occupation. And that's a conflict when you talk about the issue of reparations because they're going to want to say, well, we sold it to the U.S. and so, it's their responsibility. And everybody's always passing the buck when it comes to the responsibility of what, to do for repair for what has happened to us. But I love how you drove it home that both we and our brothers and sisters on the continent, we have to learn how to work together in the sense of making that repair. It has to be that restoration. It has to be tangible on both sides. So we have to pour in, they have to pour in. And I say that because we know that unfortunately our ancestors, they took part in seeing us being scattered. It's unfortunate, but that's a reality that we have to deal with. And so those of our brothers and sisters who remained on the continent, they're not exempt. They have dealt with the punishment just as we have dealt with the punishment. No, they weren't scattered, but they were colonized. And so we have to recognize our necessity to forgive one another, to love one another, and to restore one another. And, that's a lesson that I'm trying to learn myself because it can get frustrating. Like, okay, well, we didn't ask to be put in this situation, but, in many regards, like you said, it's our ancestors' collective disobedience that put us all in this situation of boat that we're in. So yeah, we need to see some real reconciliation on that part. But King, when you spoke with King Bugani, what was his heart concerning the diaspora?
His heart was really just social welfare of all Africans on the continent and the diaspora, really being ridding the continent of xenophobia, of tribalism, of colonialism, of hatred towards one another, really seeing a lot of reconciliation between all of us and becoming a unified Africa, becoming a unified Bantu people. And that's what I heard him say. But I also, the more time I got to spend with him, as well as the crown prince and the princesses and other people that I've been able to meet, I see the consistency in that. And the few times that I've spoken with him directly, I've got to see that consistently. So that seems to be his heart.
That's amazing. Fantastic.
And the beautiful thing is, like I said, because UGKA is diaspora led, no matter what, my heart, my focus is us in the diaspora. That's my number one priority, is to ensure all of us have a way home and a way to reconnect at home. And then secondly, to reunify, having the two sticks come together again. And the only way that's going to happen is that, one, we've got to get back home, and two, we have to begin to what's the word I'm looking for? Rebuild, basically.
Okay.
We have to rebuild, but together. Some things that we'll be able to see in this generation, and some things we won't see. It will be our children or their children who will live in it. And at the end of the day, it's like we're growing a great big tree, and the fruit and the shade of that tree, us today may not get to enjoy, but our children will, and their children, and their children, and their children. So the vision is far greater than just now.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay. Shout out to Elder Set Shabbat, says, bless those that bless thee. Bless you, Ashanda. Peace and blessings to you as well. And thank you once again also for your donation. Says Ashanda, the Most High says, I will bless those that bless thee, for LaVell. Peace. Praise the Most High for you. And, this is a part of doing the work. And I'm just so grateful for having these opportunities to get up here and to speak and to have these connections and this unification, because when our family members are going out there and laboring in the field, we need to know about it here so that it motivates us to know that the Most High has not forgotten us, and he is in the process of doing a great work through our brothers and sisters. So tell me, Brother LaVell, let me ask you, what does that look like? You say about us getting back to the continent. What does that look like with UGKA right now, your efforts that you're doing in order to make that happen?
So what it looks like, what we're doing right now is building the relationships that are necessary as far as with the home affairs of different countries, the kingdoms in those different countries. What it looks like is, and we are still developing some of these processes. Like I said, I just recently came into this role. This organization has been in existence for 2 years, but I recently took over. So having to do a lot of work and making sure the processes are straight. The first step is basically the introduction for us to meeting diaspora. Next step would be going through membership process, and the steps after that would be we begin to fill people in on what the what different types of visas there are, what visa processes we can assist with, and then we also give people a timeline, an idea of a timeline. Nothing is for certain immediately, right? But it really we give people basically like a timeline of, we really want to find out, what is your timeline? Let's start there. Some people don't want to move out there for another 12 months or until sometime in 2025. So we want to respect that. But that's pretty much the process we start with, and some of the other processes we're building with.
Okay, beautiful. Now, we spoke of your team a little bit earlier. So tell us how many people are connected currently in the continent. How many people are connected with your team specifically right now that are doing the work there?
Amount of people that are connected on my team right now is over 30, probably about 30, anywhere between 31, 35 people. I have to double check, but we're over 30. I know that for sure because a few people just came on board the team. And all those are, I would say about 90% of those folks are diaspora.
Do y'all hear that? Because that was going to be my next question. How many of those that are directly on your team are from the diaspora and have come to the continent and are doing the work? 90%.
Yeah, and some of those on the team who are diaspora are still out in the U.S., but a lot of us have gone out to the continent. Then we are connecting with other diaspora who are in other countries such as Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Botswana, Zimbabwe. I feel like there was another country Congo, DRC. Then we are building those relationships with a few other African countries: Morocco, Congo, Angola, Ghana, Zimbabwe, even Pakistan.
Wow.
Yeah, remember that's Northeast Africa. So hey, even even the so-called Middle East, which is really Northeast Africa, pre-Suez Canal. But yeah, that's pretty much where we, and South Africa, of course, that's where we stand right now.
Look right here. Your brother right here says, "Yeah, baby, I'm one of them."
Yeah. He's one of them. Yes, sir.
Yes, I love that. Okay, that's awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some time now to go check out your website real quick. Shout out to Only 60 Games Played. I stand with you, GKA. Hallelujah. That's what I'm talking about, family. You got to put that work in and show that the Most High is working through his people by you supporting the work that he's doing. So let's go ahead and take a look here and see what we got coming up. Okay, well, no, we're gonna talk about this in a minute. Okay, so but let's. I want to move over here to the site, and I want to show everybody what it is that they'll see when they come on. So let's talk about right here. This is the UKG Support Bureau. Can you tell us about Hamenskraal and what's going on over here?
Yeah, Hamenskraal was a huge issue out in South Africa. It's a place called Hamenskraal, right outside of Pretoria, the capital. And they were dealing with, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, cholera that was in their water supply. And it's not drinkable. They've been dealing with it for a couple of years now. And what we've seen was an issue. We've seen that we needed to go over there and try to bring some clean water. So we went over there. We brought 10,000 liters of water for the people in Hamenskraal, as well as not just bringing the water to drink for a day, but we taught them how to purify their water as well. So we taught them a filtration system. And it's funny too, because while we were down there doing that, we even heard on the radio that millions of dollars were being invested in trying to clean up the issue. And I thought, like, why do you need millions of dollars to clean up the issue right now when you could just go over there and teach how to filter water? So we went over there, we taught them, we helped out the people. They were extremely grateful for it. And yeah. And we're still doing some follow-up with that area as well, just to make sure that some of the things that we taught are still being implemented.
Beautiful. So I'm going to read real quick what this says, and then I want to share something with the audience. It says, Hamenskraal, a cry for intervention. The union will be involved in a true test of humanitarian goodwill when UGKA President LaVell Walton, the REF, what does that stand for? Reference Kingdom of Yehuda will assist Princess Lorna Reference Imbo Kingdom on a diplomatic visit to the South African city of Hamenskraal. With a population of 120,000 plus, Hamenskraal is currently engaged in a years-long water crisis. UGKA nations have made the city and its residents its top priority as they seek to endeavor on an agenda to lift the standard of health and wellness for abandoned African cities. I love that, for abandoned African cities. Now, family, this is one of the projects that they're working on. I want you to take a look at this.
Here it is. You see right now, we're out here in Hamenskraal, helping our brothers, helping our sisters, helping our mothers, our elders, our people, children, everyone. Clean water. It's not about talking. It's about doing something. It's about relationships. It's about the people. Being involved, showing love, showing help and support. 10,000 liters, is that right? Of water. Right now, filling up this tank with 5,000. We just gave thousands of liters of water to the people, thousands. Now, time to be a solution.
Wow, that was powerful. That was truly, truly powerful. You know, when I saw that, to be honest with you, my eyes just teared up. They're teared up. It was so beautiful. I have a brother and sister that are in Tanzania. Shout out to Stepping Stones to Home, and they recently built a well for a school that's out there in Tonga. And these children were also facing a water crisis and not able to flush toilets and just have access to clean drinking water. So when I see those most basic needs on the continent being taken care of by diasporans who have come home to be of aid and to help and to, you know, just show that Yah is able to help our people no matter where it is that we're located. It just really warms my heart. So I'm just so grateful for the work that y'all are doing out there already. So what was that like for you though, before we move on further into the site?
Honestly, it just felt like a typical Wednesday. It just,
Typical Wednesday.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't. It didn't seem like it was something taboo. It's like, no, we're just supposed to help. Like, just get out there and go do it. Like, it doesn't. A typical Wednesday, just get out there and go help. Like, I guess that's how I took it. That's how I felt. It's like I'm supposed to do that. It's not something crazy. It's a supposed to, you know.
I love that attitude. I really love that attitude because, you know, unfortunately, so many times people have this attitude like, what's in it for me? And I don't believe that that's the people that listen to content like mine or content like Teo Ministries or Pastor Kelly or, you know, even my brother Karis Copeland of Covenant Awakening. Shout out to you, my brother. I don't believe that that's the attitude of people that listen to this platform. But unfortunately, we do have a lot of people that have this me-centered attitude that they feel like, okay, what's in it for me? And you say, you know, I'm just supposed to help. I'm just supposed to help. That's what I'm supposed to do. So that's what I'm going to do. So I just love it. Let's go ahead and move further along on your site and take a look here. So we're talking and you were sharing with us about King Bugani III. Tell us a little bit more about what it is that y'all are working on here with the Continental News, the Kingmaker, and protecting the pathways to the continent.
Yeah, well, what he's primarily doing is helping us with those relationships with the other kingdoms, and we're so far now we're being endorsed by another. I think Ashanda, last we spoke a few days ago. It was just, I don't remember how many kingdoms I mentioned to you, but a number of them more, probably about 9 more, were just added to our support team, and so. He's really connecting us with more so with kings and chiefs and kingdoms across the continent so that we are able to establish relationships. So that's primarily what that is all about.
Beautiful. So because he is because his soil, his blood is in the soil and he's connected, he is royalty. He's able to make those connections for you in the diaspora and your team to be able to get access to serve particularly these cities, as you said, and here on your website that are often abandoned, African cities that are neglected.
And I want to clarify one thing that's very important for folks to understand is that for anyone who has not gone to Africa, Africa is gorgeous. It is advanced. Also, there's some cities that they don't really have much resources, right? As far as the things that big cities would have, you know, the lights, the camera, the action, the fancy restaurants, you know, there's a lot of that in Africa, period. But there are some areas that don't have that. And that's all. I just want to make sure I paint the right picture for people. When you think of Africa, don't think what the traditional media has shown us in America with little children with big bellies, skin tight to their ribs and flies flying all around them. That's not reality. That's
America.
That's America. That is not Africa. You know, and I would say, even though I'm not a huge fan of social media, I've been off of social media for the past 2 years and I feel so free. But there is a huge advantage to social media because now it's exposing. A lot of people traveling are exposing the realities in Nairobi, Kenya, and in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and you know all these other countries. They're like, wow, it's really that beautiful. Yes, it is gorgeous in Africa, and Africa is vast. So it's really it's life over there, and you'll feel it in your spirit. So just want to
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, you got to put that out there. Got to put, because some people still, don't really, understand that that's really the way it is in Africa. It's not,
Yeah.
This backwards country, right? Or as
Right.
Donald Trump said, this S-hole country, right? It's like
Right.
that type of language is oftentimes used to deter us from connecting with the continent, and
Mhm.
especially when that verbiage is put out, why don't you just go back to Africa, is used as a threat, because they know that
Right.
they have, drilled in the minds of the generations before us
Right.
that Africa is, some desert wasteland. And that's just not the case. It's not the case. But, just like any other place, they're going to have areas where there's poverty. There's going to be
Mhm.
areas where people are in need. And what better way for us to be of an aid and assistance than to hit those areas and help them? So I
Right.
love
Right. And that's really what it is. It's, you're going to find a lot of beautiful things over there, and there's some areas that need help. So just get out there and do something. You'll
Let's get
still
out
be
there.
able to have your own life and start businesses and do great things. That's great. If you're thinking of the me, that's cool. Not a problem. You'll have some of those things. But while you're doing that, when you have some free time, go and give to somebody else. Help them. It's a typical Wednesday.
There you go. So you got to tell us about this Agenda 26. What's going on with Agenda 26?
Yes, yes. Well, I will say this: more will be exposed next week. We have our first global summit webinar, which we're introducing UGKA to the world, basically via Zoom. And so, if people happen to go to the website, you can register for that on the very front page. It's free registration. You want to hurry up and do it fast, because in the past 2 days, our registration is already up to 400. And
Wow. Y'all hear
3,000.
that? Y'all
Yeah,
hear that? It's going fast. It's going fast. And
yeah,
yes, I'm going to show the flyer again in just a few minutes. But yes,
yeah.
mom is the word. You're going to have to attend. And yes, I've already signed up, so I definitely plan on being
You
there.
got it. Yeah. But Agenda 26, you'll hear more information about that during the Zoom. It's basically we're not just an organization with great ideas. So we got a plan. As you see, you're going there. We have an organizational structure. We have initiatives. We have a plan. We're moving. It's not. We're looking at 3 years. We're looking at 2030. We're looking even beyond that. So people will be able to hear a little bit about that during the summit next Sunday.
Beautiful. Give us a snippet of this plan, right? Because you talked about having a plan. It says the UGKA is governed by 5 functioning bodies that ensure the organization's existence and mission continues with full accountability. So let's talk a little bit about this. Commission reference advocate. Tell me a little bit about what that looks like.
So basically, it's just like any other government structure, like the U.S. or the UN or any other government structure. You have your executive branch, you have your judicial, you have you have other departments such as your housing and urban development, agriculture, and things like that. That is simply what our functioning bodies, those 5 functioning bodies or departments for the cabinet simply is. So the commission reference advocate, that's basically our executive branch where I sit along with some of my other team members. And then you have your reference dignitary commission. That's the relationships with other dignitaries as far as across the continent, kingdoms, and presidents or whomever I may be establishing relationship with. Those are conversations we have for the well-being of UGKA. Also, our development standard, which is, I know the biggest deal for everybody coming from the diaspora is land and housing and urban development and agriculture. That's where you'll see a lot of that taking place within that department with those group of folks as well. We have our Treasury Commission as well as our commerce, because we do understand some folks want to develop business, technology. We have Judicial, which we just signed on a lady who's a advocate, Dr. Stone, wonderful lady. She's a attorney advocate. She's already advocating for civil rights, wonderful lady. Also our defense, you want to make sure that not only can you acquire great things, but you can protect it as well. So that's simply what that is.
Beautiful, beautiful. This is fantastic. I love the organization, and just getting down to the nuts and bolts of what's going to make what's going to make this project sustainable, because it is about being able to have structure. It is about being able to mobilize together and to have a projected plan, not just for what you all are doing 6 months from now, but what you plan on doing up until 5 and 10 years from now. That's very, very important. So it says here, talking about war zone Africa. We're not going to go through a whole second, because I want to give everybody an opportunity to look through some of the pages on their own. But over here, you talk about Black Death. Nations across the continent are erupting in war. Some have the suspicions they're created by exterior powers. How are y'all dealing with that reality that, that there are still issues with tribal war, and oftentimes, as you said, it's outside agitators?
Right. It's a few countries, very few out of the 54. That's like Sudan, and there's some issues between the DRC and Rwanda. Actually, it's starting to really digress. So the way we're dealing with it is pretty much staying abreast to everything going on, and trying to create environments that will be good for refugees. So we do have a plan for things like that, but we're just not initiating everything just yet.
Right.
Our first focus is the diaspora's return, and then like I said, reconnecting back to the continent so we can actually have greater things in place. So the more volunteers, the more the team grows, the greater the work we can accomplish.
Beautiful. And last time I'm going to focus on the site is this aspect here, because I'm a mama bear. So I love you.
I'm passionate too. I have a background teaching, so my background is in education. I love children. So
excellent. I love it. UGKA Cares, UGKA education program will make learning possible for all continental youth. Tell us a little bit about what your plans are for that.
So this is my passion as well. So the number one focus for me is decolonizing the curriculum.
There you go.
That is the biggest, really teaching our young people cultural identity. While I was over in South Africa, I learned, and it really disgusted me, but it also showed me a great opportunity. A lot of young people, even adults, were teaching me that in their school systems, they were taught the French Revolution and other things like that. I'm like, wait a minute, have you guys ever heard of Mansa Musa? They're like, who is that? I said, have you ever heard of Timbuktu in Mali? They're like, oh, we just thought that was a joke. I said, what about the great Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe is a bordering country. They said, what is that? And it kind of blew my mind. Like, you guys don't know these things, and they're on your continent. And they said that they were not taught these. And so I think what is important is cultural identity, cultural relevancy, as well as science, technology, engineering, arts, math, and all these other things that we provide is important. So we do have a homeschooling curriculum we're working with, as well as a full-on curriculum we're developing, so then that way we can establish our own schools. We're also making it possible for young people to get their accreditation, their college credits, and graduate with their college degree as a young child in agriculture as well. So we're on the move.
Wow, I'm loving it. Loving every aspect of it.
We'll learn more next week. I don't want to give all the game away. But
I'm pulling back a little bit. I'm pulling back. It's hard, but it's really a blessing. You sent me some pictures, and I wanted to show the family some of the work that y'all are doing aside from the water project that you're doing. So I love to see this work here because, again, you talk about agriculture, right? Agricultural development. So tell us about this project right here that you're working on.
What you're seeing right there is a girl who was 20 years old who set up hydroponics right there. We walked through her farm and watched what she was doing. And the people who owned the farm gave us the blueprints of how to establish it the same way. So thanks to Keith Ngani, he made that connection, that relationship, and with the owner of that farm, and they gave us the blueprints. So we now know how to do exactly what they did, and to teach our young people how to do the same thing, and they can actually get college credits for doing it. So imagine your child being 5 years old and in 3 years have a college degree in agriculture and technology. So this was part on the farm. So we walked through. Some of us, some of the folks there were from South Africa. Others were diaspora. We walked through this farm and seen exactly how they were doing it, catching rainwater, growing their fruits and veggies within these tents here, as well as hydroponics and growing their own tilapia, their own fish. and just a lot of great stuff happening out there.
So this is also a lot of education for you at the same time, to be on the continent and seeing the work done by the locals, and then you can take that and you can put it into the different areas and villages that are right now suffering from water crisis and vegetation crisis, and being able to just pretty much duplicate what you see here.
Absolutely. So we're just that's the whole thing, is duplicate everywhere so none of us are suffering.
I love it. And here we go, a couple more pictures here.
So we were at the State Theater out there.
This is some of the team here.
Yeah. That's some of the team. A couple of the brothers on the outsides are from South Africa, and all three of us on the inside there are from diaspora from the U.S. And we went out to the State Theater in Pretoria, and we were invited by the director of the theater, the head honcho, as well as Princess Lorna, the daughter of King Bongani. And we went out there to go watch this show, this stage play called Sophia Town. And I tell you the truth, Ashanda, Sophia Town, literally, when we were watching it, it reminded us of the struggles in the U.S. Out of all the African countries and the things that I've heard, South Africa is very unique in that a lot of their struggles relate to the struggles we dealt with in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Sophia Town got hit with redlining, with gentrification and many other things the same way as we dealt with in the U.S.
Wow, that's amazing. But it's sad. It's really sad that that's our shared story. We want to have the shared story of seeing us have our restoration, seeing us put back at the top, but we can definitely relate in so many ways. And that's the thing that we need to understand. It's like our stories are similar, and that's where we can have our connection points so that we can learn to love one another. And I love this picture right here as well. Tell us a little bit about this.
So obviously that's the handsome guy on the left. That's me. Then the gentleman in the yellow, that's King Bongani III. That's the king right there. He invited us out to have a sit down and lunch with him. And that's obviously, everyone knows, Ron Dalton Jr. And then the gentleman next to him, that's a brother that we met named Sipo, who's also from the Imbo Kingdom. So we all had lunch, and we were entertained by a group of young people dancing and celebrating with us. And it was just a beautiful day overall.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to share this video. Everybody take a look.
The third, glad to be here all the way from the USA. Much appreciation to the kings, the chiefs, Maponga, been following your content all the way on YouTube, and to so many others. Peace, respect from your brothers and your...
Yeah.
All right. So, tell us about that. Oops, yeah, sorry. I didn't show this just yet.
No worries. That King Bongani had invited me to a Royal Leaders of South Africa event. So a lot of the people that you've seen there were a lot of kings, queens, princesses, chiefs, and they had a large gathering outdoors. And I was invited, and I was the only diaspora there at the time as well. I was invited to come and speak. And I got a chance to meet a lot of them and speak on behalf of the diaspora. I also told King Bongani is that, and everyone out there, I wanted them, because Bishop Joshua Maponga, I don't know how many of you have heard of him, but he's very, very popular across the continent. But I was telling them is that it's the difficulty about being a diaspora from the U.S. or being African American is that we're African with no memory and American with no privilege.
And hold on, you got to repeat that again. Repeat that. You put that on a T-shirt.
But being African American essentially means that we're African with no memory. We don't remember, and we're American with no privilege, and so we're homeless. We're nomadic. We're just moving around on land that isn't even ours. And I was trying to stress the importance of the diaspora returning to the continent, but actually having a landing spot when we return. And shortly after that event, he had us to sit down with him and go through this game plan and put some things together. And that was the beginning, or the birthing place of United Global Kingdoms of Africa.
Amazing. Amazing and so accurate. It's unfortunate, but it's so accurate.
Mhm.
You know, I think that that's the thing that causes us as a people, to still deal with that trauma.
Mhm.
And we function. We're functioning in our trauma. But us being a nomadic people, even from antiquity, our forefathers in the wilderness and pitching their tent, moving from one place to the next. I think about our forefather Abraham, who said that he's looking for a city whose builder and maker is Yah, because he was constantly on the move trying to obey the will of Yah, what direction he was sending him. But he told him that he had land for him. He told him that
Mhm.
he had land as vast as he could see, as the stars in the sky and the sand, that he could see that he
Right.
had land that was established for him. And so we as a people, we want to be connected back to that land. We want to,
Mhm.
put our feet on that soil and breathe that air. And just to see the work that you're doing and the work that so many others like you that are doing. Shout out again to my brother Karis with Quest to Unite Africa and his team, because a shout out to the Dry Bones Project, because there are those of our family that are going out there and they are laboring in the kingdom, and it needs recognition. So at this time, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what we have coming up next week. This is right. This is a
Yeah. Next Sunday. Absolutely.
next Sunday. Okay, beautiful. Tell us a little bit more about what's going on next Sunday.
So we have a global webinar summit. We wanted to introduce UGKA to the diaspora, making sure that our brothers and sisters know that there is an advocate working on their behalf, and it is diaspora led. And so what I did here is invite King Bungani III himself, Princess Lorna, Bishop Joshua Maponga, and Dr. Susan Tata. I wanted folks to hear from some of those on the continent who are also advocating for the diaspora return. We also have a Queen Mother from Ghana who's going to be speaking, and a newly elected king or newly elevated king out of Kenya. So to show our folks that, hey, wait a minute, this is continental. This isn't just South Africa. These are other royals who are advocating for your return. But then also, as I said, because UGKA is diaspora led, you will hear from some of my teammates as well about the initiative for empowering Africa and by empowering the diaspora to return. So if anybody is thinking about returning or repatriating in Africa, or if you're looking to collaborate with a group that's actually building, that's actually doing some work, not just talking about it, but walking about it, then this is an opportunity for you to do just that. So that's what this global summit is really very informative, but also just really giving all the information out there so people can make that educated decision to make their preparations and get on up out of Babylon. Ron Dalton Jr. has been talking about it for years. He's provided all the information, all the history. Um, he's given every single one of us enough to think about. Now, UGKA is giving you enough reason to act about it. And if you still don't think you should, then you don't have to. It's totally good, up to you. You can just vacation on the continent. We can assist you with that as well. But it's about doing something. So if you're not a doer, this ain't for you.
There you go. There you go. You gotta put your hands to the plow. Okay,
Yeah.
so at this time, what I want to do, I want to give everybody who is listening to you, because we have about 181 people in the chat, and I'm sure there's some folk with some questions for you. All right. So what I'd like y'all to do now, if you have a question for Brother, hold on just one second. Let me move this off the screen. If you have a question for Brother LaVell, what I want you to do is put Q and then put your question. And we're going to try to get to as many questions as we can. And if he can't answer it because it's based off of what's going to happen next week, I'm sure he'll let you know. But if you have any questions based on some of the information that you heard tonight, then definitely go ahead and put your question in the chat, and then we'll see if we can get to those questions. But in the meantime, tell me on a more personal level, how does your family feel about this initiative that you're doing? Your wife, your children, your mom, all the people that, they got your back, but they're not necessarily, maybe some of them, sure about how all of this is going to work out. Do you have people like that in your family, or do you have like 100% people in your corner seeing this vision come to life?
One, because of this awakening, and because of my faith in us needing to get back to Africa, I'm divorced. Okay, so there is no wife anymore. I do have 2 children who are currently living with their mom. Actually, right now they're out here spending some time with me, where I'm at. I'm back in the U.S. for a moment. I head back out to Africa shortly. I do have some family members. Actually, all of my family members thought I was nuts. They thought I was crazy. Go to Africa? Are you serious? Right? But when I first went out there, I was able to talk with them, show them some of my experiences, and now they're all planning to come next year to come in and experience it for themselves. As far as my taking on this responsibility with UGKA, I don't think they. I think they were excited and really happy to hear such a thing. I don't think they fully understood the magnitude of this move. Uh, and I don't think all of them are very supportive of it because it causes me to be very busy. I mean, very busy.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
I think everyone is beginning to learn that I didn't call myself to this responsibility. This isn't something I pondered up. I had my own plans. Going to Africa, I had my own vision, my own plans. Uh, but this is what Yah gave me to do, and it's far greater than I had ever imagined. It's bigger than what I could actually handle on my own. So it's His will. Oh, what Yahusha say? Nevertheless, not my will, but Thine will be done. So
There you
here we
go.
go.
You know, based off of everything that you just said, I can't help but to recall his words to the disciples that who is my mother, who are my father,
Mhm.
my
Yeah.
brothers, my sisters, those who do the will of
And
my
who do the
Father.
will. Mhm.
and and that's so key because I think a lot of people really kind of miss that personal aspect of being called to the mission. It's like when
Yeah.
you're called to the mission, there's going to be people that, yes, they support you in your corner, but there's also going to be people that are close to you that don't, that are going to not get it, they're not going to understand. But you keep pressing forward, you keep pressing on because you have a greater commission, you have a greater responsibility. So I love just that transparency, that openness to say, hey, I got some folks that think I'm a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I think we all do. But then I have
Yeah.
some folks that are in my corner and that have said, you know what, we're getting ready to come out there with you and to labor
Mhm.
with you. So all praises to the Most High for
Yeah.
that. We
So
got
my
some.
family's coming out to they want to do the safari. They want to go on to the beaches. They want to do all the fun stuff. Cool. Hey, no problem. Come on out. Check it all
I
out.
ain't gonna lie, I want to do the safari too. I ain't gonna lie
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. It's nothing wrong with that. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Oh, I love it.
But
I
yeah,
love it.
it's just I realize not everybody is going to work with us, but that doesn't mean that I get to stop working or the rest of the team gets to stop working just because some will not join.
That's right.
That's your choice. You have every right to make that choice, just as we have every right to keep it pushing.
There you go. There you go. Well, we got some questions flying in here for you. So I'm going to
Uh,
go ahead and start with
sure.
this first one. It's from Janine that says, how do you register?
Okay, so you go on to www.ugka.org, and the green flyer that you seen on Ashanda's page just a moment ago will pop up. Simply click on that flyer, and then the registration form will be right there. Just fill in your information right there, and you'll be good to go. Very simple, very easy. So just go to ugka.org, click on the flyer that's right there that says register now, and register. You're good to go.
Beautiful. And I will also put this in the description link, all the information so that y'all can definitely sign up. If y'all didn't catch that, you can just click the button and once I put it in the description link. Jessica Figure says, will this foundation help with acquiring dual citizenship and how does that process work?
Yeah, our goal, our objective is to make sure that anytime somebody who comes through UGKA is looking to get dual citizenship, residency, visas, that you're getting everything through UGKA as your advocate, instead of having to go through those long processes or having to deal with that the backlogs of some of these other embassies and so forth through the other countries. So everything would be done through UGKA. We would advocate on your behalf. As far as how that process works, more details to come.
Oh, I didn't realize I was still on mute. Okay. So Prada Judith says, are there any established diaspora communities anywhere you can go? You can find a Chinatown. Where can I find a Hebrew town?
Hebrew town. I love that one. So there are some diaspora communities across the continent. I don't know all of them as far as Hebrew communities. I do know that there are a lot of different diasporans coming together across the continent, but I cannot say there's any one particular community established. Hopefully, it'll be Hebrew town will be the town you join. You get started with us.
There you go. There you go. See, you got the idea. There you
Yep.
go. All right. Fast Nickel says, do you help with visa, land purchase, and the do's and don'ts of being in a new land and culture?
Yes, and yes, yes. As far as all the do's and don'ts of being in a new land, that's a long conversation. So I would say continue to ride with us. Also be at that Global Summit webinar next Sunday. More information will be rolled out there. But yeah, we do assist with the visa and land purchase. We're working on that now.
Okay, beautiful. I'm not sure how to
One
answer.
do and don't. If I can say this real quick, I would say one do and one don't. When you come over there, something not to do is bring Western attitude, Western ideology, Western culture. Don't do that because you'll be greatly disappointed and wondering how come everyone is not moving the same way you are moving. Then you'll get frustrated and say, "Forget this, I'm going back to Egypt." Okay, just like in the days of Moses, right? And one thing to do is be flexible. Be willing to listen. Be willing to learn. Don't be quick to judge things. What you'll find is, I know some people think it's taboo and it's creepy when you hear African spirituality. But one thing I learned from the time that I was on the continent is a lot of the stuff that you see, you listen, you'll learn about is written in the scriptures. A lot of it only proves we are truly the people. And it also shows you what practices we picked up from other surrounding people groups, like we learn in the scripture, the Canaanites or the Hittites or Jebusites, etc., the things that we weren't supposed to do. But you'll find a lot of the things that the culture Yah was teaching Israel when they were with Moses in the wilderness, you'll see a lot of that still carries on. So just be mindful of that.
Okay. Well, we got you love Yah, she says. Immunization and passport. What's happening with this? That's a good question. I was like, what? Let's see how to figure out. Oh, I know what you're saying.
A very good question. South Africa, there's no immunization. You're good. You don't have to get any. You don't even need a COVID test anymore. You don't. None of that stuff. All right. Now, when you go to certain countries like Ghana, they'll say yellow fever or take malaria tablets. You go to other countries, maybe the Congo or other things like that. But South Africa, nah. None of that. As far as passport, the U.S. passport, if you don't have your passport right now, you need to get started on that like today, like literally, because the backlog for passports is 5 months in the U.S. So if you do not have your passport, get on it today. Passports are about $110 and then $30 to expedite, and even the expediting is still a long process, but I would highly recommend everybody get your passport yesterday.
Very, very good. Okay, we got Team Truth says, is the organization working with other ethnic groups, Chinese, Europeans, to establish this work?
Nope.
Okay, all right. That was a big fat NOPE.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mind collaborating with some groups. But I'll be all transparent. As your president, I'm not compromising my people.
That's right.
I'm just not going to do that. Yes. So I don't mind working with other groups, other nationalities, so long as it's not going to, number one, so long as Yah says it's okay. Number two, it's not going to put his people in harm's way now or later. But there's still an advantage for us. So that's what it boils down for me.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, so we got a couple of questions here about donations. So where specifically can people donate to you? If let's say they're not able to make to the meeting on Sunday, but they want to support the work, where would they find a donation portal?
Email us at affairs@ugka.org. We do appreciate all of the donations. So just email us at affairs@ugka.org if you're not able to make the summit next Sunday. Oh, you're still muted, Ashanda.
Sorry about that. So I just put that in, but I'm putting this in for donation.
Yeah, affairs@ugka.org.
Okay, beautiful. And I'm going to put this up on the screen. So if y'all got pen and paper, or you could just go click that in on your email.
ugka.org.
Did I put that in? Affairs at
UKGA.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I'm a little dyslexic tonight, y'all. Sorry.
You're good.
UGKA. Don't
Yes.
forget about the first thing I wrote, y'all. Forget about it. I'm writing it again, okay?
Blank that out.
Right?
Yeah, no.
We don't want that to be wrong at all. So let me take that off the screen and then put this.
Yeah. So if anyone is looking to bring your skills, your talents, your abilities, email us at that same email as well. There we go. affairs@ugka.org. If you want to donate because you want to see the work to continue, email us there as well.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, we got another question here for you. Are you looking for teachers for your school? Tell me a bit more about education, please. I am a teacher as well.
Absolutely. And again, absolutely. It looks like we will be seeing you at the summit webinar next Sunday. Yes, we are looking for more teachers.
Beautiful.
So come to the summit, register today.
And along that line, here we go. Are you looking for volunteers? And if so, what capacity?
Yep, absolutely. So we have multiple departments that where we have need as far as in the housing and urban development, agriculture, commerce, treasury department. There's many of other departments, education, et cetera, technology, administration. I know technology right now. My guy who's running our tech, he definitely could use more support for anyone who has an IT background or tech background in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, we definitely are looking for more support, more help.
Wow. Okay. Well, this has been phenomenal just sitting down and speaking with you. I think, everybody who's listening, they're just, truly excited. I know I am to see what y'all is doing and will continue to do. What I'd like to know, real quick before we go, is there any information that we did not speak about that is pertinent to get out before we get ready to wrap things up?
Nothing I can think of right now. I do want to tell people to just get to the Global Summit webinar. I keep stressing it and promoting it because a lot of the questions many of us have will be answered there. A lot of information will be provided, but it's not just going to be all information heavy. We want to basically give people a clear direction and let folks know who we are and what we are and what we're doing and why we're here for you. I also want to leave you all with the scripture, a thought that something that stuck with me in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 14. It says, "And I will be found of you, saith Yahuwah, and I will turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations and from all the places where I have driven you, saith Yahuwah, and I will bring you again into the place where I caused you to be carried away captive." And we know we were carried away captive from the continent of Africa, and Yah is calling us to go back. Now, some of you may say, well, I want to go here, I want to go there. You have every right to decide where you want to go, but Yah said where he wants to gather us. We have choices to make, and just want to encourage you all, just know that Yah is thinking about all of us.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think everybody's heart is full. Fast Nickel wants to know real quick, do you need graphic design, web, or email help? And only 60 games real quick wants to know about hospitals and laboratories. So I want to get those two questions out before you go, because those are very important questions.
So as far as graphics and all that, yes, absolutely. Please come to the webinar next Sunday. And then also you can email us at affairs@ugka.org. And what was the other question?
And about hospitals and laboratories as well?
Yep, email us. Simply email us.
Beautiful. So what we're going to do, we're going to close out with a video that Brother LaVell put together. so you can get more information about what it is that they're doing. This is one of the first conferences that they held, and I want to leave that information with you all tonight. And definitely check out his website, sign up for the conference, and just listen. If you can't do anything else, just be prayerful. Okay, be prayerful for the work that is going on in the continent, especially, yes, in the diaspora. You know that we're laboring in the diaspora, but in the continent, the rebuilding and the restoration is so important, especially because, I really, really appreciate that line that Brother LaVell shared about not having Africans without any memory and American without any privilege. You said that's right. That's true. That's true. And that's not the way it's set up in the kingdom of Yah for his chosen to be. We are called to be the head and not the tail. So let's pray for all the work that this brother and his team is doing, as well as all the work that the continental brothers and sisters are doing as well through this organization. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, President LaVell Walton, for being here once again. We really appreciate all that you have brought to the table and continue to do. So with that said, family, we'll go ahead and put this up.
Greetings to the panelists and the host of the show. I want to give thanks to my fabulous UGKA team who works tirelessly to accommodate the advancements of the diaspora's return to the continent, also the advancement of Africa as a whole. I also would like to acknowledge the political powers that are in attendance, as well as His Imperial Majesty, Chancellor King Bugani III of the Imbo Kingdom, Bayete. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow members of the African diaspora, I stand before you today as the President of the United Global Kingdoms of Africa, UGKA, to address the profound injustices that we have faced and to present a powerful vision of unity, progress, and empowerment. Together we can overcome the challenges that have plagued us, and together we can create a future where Africa and its diaspora flourish. United Global Kingdoms of Africa is a united forum for the various African kingdoms, nations, and territories, working together to facilitate an economic, humanitarian, and technological advancement of Africa. United Global Kingdoms of Africa, UGKA, will be instrumental in developing a relationship between the African diaspora and the continent. We cannot ignore the terrible international injustices that the African diaspora and Africa itself have endured throughout history. I'm talking about the scars of slavery to the colonialism and discrimination continue to haunt us, all of this, reminding us of the profound need for change. But let us also recognize the similarities that bind us together. Just as South Africa faced the atrocities of apartheid, the diaspora has endured systemic racism and marginalization. Our struggles are interconnected, and it is time for us to rise above them. The UGKA, United Global Kingdoms of Africa, is more than just an organization. It is a movement that is driven by the profound belief that Africa and its diaspora deserve justice. We deserve empowerment and progress. UGKA is about uniting our people. It is about embracing our shared heritage and uplifting one another. We aim to reclaim our rightful place in history and to build a brighter future for all Africans, no matter where they may be. So how does it operate? How does UGKA operate? Well, we operate through a soulful combination of collective action, strategic partnerships, and grassroots initiatives. We believe that the change starts at the individual level and it ripples outward to the community, the nation, the whole world. We work hand in hand with governments, organizations, and individuals who share our vision, harnessing the power of collaboration to affect real change in our lives. All right. What we've achieved so far is significant milestones on this journey towards justice and development. We are in the early development process of building schools, hospitals, and infrastructure in communities across Africa. But starting right here in South Africa, providing access to education and healthcare for the marginalized. We have empowered entrepreneurs through training and mentorship programs, fostering economic growth and self-reliance. Let's see, we have celebrated and preserved our rich cultural heritage, ensuring that our traditions and our languages are passed down to the future generations. Additionally, we've advocated for African interests on the international stage, fighting for peace, stability, and equality equality for all Africans. All right, so how can you join the mission with UGKA? If you're inspired by our mission, our vision, share. I invite you to join the UGKA. Your voice, your skills, and your passion are vital to the realization of our goals. To become a member, simply visit our official website, www.ugka.org, and complete the membership application. We welcome individuals from all walks of life who are committed to the upliftment of Africa and its diaspora. UGKA, again, is not merely an organization. It is a catalyst for the African Renaissance. We contribute to the Renaissance and the development of Africa in various ways through education and skills transfer. We empower African youth with the knowledge and the tools necessary to build a prosperous future. We foster economic integration, encouraging trade and investment within Africa and the diaspora, which drives job creation and economic growth. So by promoting cultural change and collaboration, we celebrate our heritage. We foster a sense of identity and a sense of unity. Additionally, we advocate for peace, for security and representation, ensuring that Africa's voice is heard, respected on the global stage. All right, our commitment to the diaspora is unwavering. All right, so anyhow, my fellow brothers, my fellow sisters, all across the world, on the continent and in the diaspora, let's unite with a renewed sense of purpose. Let's come together. We possess the soul, we possess the strength and the authority to transform our reality. Let us work tirelessly to create a world where justice prevails, where opportunities abound, and where the African spirit shines brightly. Join us on this incredible journey with the United Global Kingdoms of Africa as we build a future that embodies the greatness of our people, of our past, and the infinite potential of our future. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed viewers, potential partners, let me speak to you. I'm here today to share this exciting opportunity for skilled volunteers and for visionary investors to join the forces with the UGKA on our journey towards a brighter future. Together, again, it's the key word, together, united, we can make a lasting impact and achieve remarkable progress. We stand at a critical juncture in history where the need for change is more apparent than ever. The time has come for us to come together, both within Africa and in the diaspora, to build safe and prosperous communities that reflect the resilience and the greatness of our people. We have seen the destruction and the oppression brought upon us by hatred and white supremacy agendas. We refuse to let our dreams be shattered. We refuse to let this hope, the prophecy of our people becoming one people again, we refuse to let that be shattered. That's our future. No, let me rephrase that. That's our now. We don't have next. We have now. We're not asking for anybody to allow us. We're taking our place. And as we envision the future, UGKA places great importance on sustainable development and environmental consciousness. We definitely do. We recognize the urgency to address climate change, to promote renewable energy sources. Therefore, we emphasize the implementation of solar energy solutions, and we strive to adopt green products wherever possible by harnessing the power of the sun and employing eco-friendly practices. We aim to create communities that are not only prosperous, but also in harmony with nature. But we don't have next. We have right now. Right now we do. So today I extend a heartfelt invitation for all skilled volunteers, for all visionary investors who share our passion, who share our vision for Africa and for the diaspora. Your expertise, your dedication, and your resources are invaluable as we work toward these goals. Together, we can pave the way for a new era progress and empowerment. We look to the historic example of Black Wall Street. It's a testament to the potential that lies within our communities. We aspire to create similar and safe, prosperous environments that flourish without the threat of destruction. By harnessing the strength of unity and collective effort, we can transcend the divisive tactics of our adversaries. It is time for Africans and the diaspora to come together. No more looking back. No more talk. Time to go.
Family, we want to thank y'all so much once again for being here with us tonight. Thank you once again, President LaVell Walton, for all that you have shared with us. As family, just continue to support the work and make sure that you visit the site and also sign up and register for the conference. So family, as always, love yourselves without hating your enemies. And until next time, Yah bless and Salamah.